Okay.
Very good.
Bastian,
Here.
Danicourt,
Here.
Canower,
Here.
Tidings.
Here.
Nursinger,
Here.
Valentine,
Here.
Sangster,
Here.
Weisar.
Here.
Okay.
Okay, this week we emailed out the minutes from the February 12th meeting. Everyone should have had a chance to look at them. Does anyone have corrections that they may have seen or any comments on them?
Nope.
Okay, if not, we can take a vote.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, Bastian,
Aye.
Danicourt,
Aye.
Canower,
Aye.
Tidings.
Aye.
Spot the mirror up there to see backwards.
Want to do 2775 first?
Yeah, sure. On the screen and in the drop from last Friday, you guys would have gotten a letter from, we received a letter from the applicants for 2775 Penfield Road. It's the single-family home on a very small lot. They've sent us a letter requesting to table the application until they are able to get out to the field and do the testing you do for the septic system and do the perk rates. This is part of our tabling resolution that's been ongoing since the public hearing in January. So right now, again, this letter is just for the board's consideration to keep it tabled. And until we get updates from them, we can take no action on it until that time comes. And we'll provide updates as it goes, and then the board will reserve its right to keep reviewing things as they come in.
Cool.
So,
Make the motion to
Continue table.
Table.
Continue table, yep.
Second.
Okay, Bastian,
Aye.
Danicourt,
Aye.
Canower,
Aye.
Tidings.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, 1700 Penfield Road is your other tabled item. We received responses back from the applicant to all the comments, revised site plan, revised updated lighting plan, lighting cut sheets, specs for the generator enclosure and the HVAC units, and responses to your tabling resolution from the 12th. Staff has taken a look at it, and we do have a couple of more comments on it. You did receive a draft approval resolution, just you had it if you're interested in it. One of the questions come up is about the emergency generator. In the public hearing, they stated that it was a natural gas generator at that time. We asked for some more detail on that. He subsequently sent the specs over, which you got on your drop last week. Shows it's actually a diesel generator, a little bit bigger than we might have thought, and we had some questions, concerns about the sound of that. It's showing an 80 decibel measurement at roughly 30 feet away, 7 meters. So don't know what the board's thoughts, concerns are on that, Bill. I know you've got some more sound experience. And
80 decibels, it's pretty loud. There's an ocean regulation, to put it in perspective, if you hit 85 decibels, I think that's the action level that OSHA mandates that you do something to abate the noise. And we're at 80 decibels to 30 feet, and we're outdoors, and there's nothing around us. It's kind of like a gas lawnmower running. So, but I'm not even sure a gas lawnmower at 30 feet would be that loud. There's
no, it'd be like next to it, yes.
So my take on this is we want to make sure that on the spec sheets for the generator they had acoustical enclosures. Acoustical number 1 enclosure, acoustical number 2 enclosure.
Have it up on screen.
Okay. And also they're going to have the 322 gallon gas tank. And typically how these are built, the gas tank is underneath. That's the box underneath the generator on the side view there. And they're big. I mean, it's the 29, the 322, the length. It's 143 inches, so it's over 10 feet, 11 feet, 12 feet by 117 inches high. I mean, they're not a small generator. It's a fairly large generator.
I mean, it's a nursing care facility, so
Yep.
you would
And
expect
that's
that they would
appropriate.
want to, manage the facility. But I don't know if the board wants to ask the question of, one, why isn't it natural gas, or could it be natural gas?
Yep.
And two, is there additional sound attenuation, either a level 2 or in other locations we've built, you know, a wall or enclosure around it that may help to kind of contain
Exactly.
the noise a little bit to, you know, either brick or block, you know, wall that would kind of, you know, big enough you can access it, get in, you know, refuel it, but may offer some, you know, buffering or attenuation to the neighbors.
But can you explain, why would a company choose diesel over gas?
The gas service may not be adequate for the
Yeah.
volume that it requires.
I'm sure they'd have to upgrade their gas
They
line.
may have to run another
Oh,
gas
gas.
service from the street or
And the
something.
pressure, everything.
The,
And they're a long ways off the street.
the fire department at the Four Corners, their backup generator is sitting on a diesel tank of that similar design.
Yeah.
And how
Um,
is it exposed?
It's, I don't know what the level of the enclosure is on that
There's
unit.
not a wall around it or anything.
There's
else.
no wall around it, it's
It's
exposed.
exposed, but we're not sure what
And-
their enclosure.
Of course, I would think that if it's sitting there, that obviously the fuel has to be treated. I don't know if they actually change it out periodically, just because,
Diesel has a shelf life. You don't want to let it sit
I think
too long.
on the PBS petroleum bulk storage regulations, I want to say you may have to test once a year the fueling. We have we have two very large generators where I work, and they're much bigger than this. And we built buildings around them because we did not want to expose them to the atmosphere, to the environment, and for sound attenuation. But they're more problematic than natural gas. One,
Sure.
you have to follow the New York State regulations for petroleum bulk
in
storage
the fire code, yeah.
and fire code, because now you've got 322 gallons of a combustible liquid sitting outside the nursing home, right, right next to the nursing home. So there's problematic. The natural gas would be, in my opinion, better, but it's not my choice. They are far away from the road, and probably to upgrade their line would be a significant cost, so they probably went with diesel. I'm just speculating.
So is that a question we can ask if it's a line issue?
If it's a
Of why
cost
they're
of
not going to
installation
line.
issue.
Cost of, yeah.
Or at the very least, you know, say I mean, it's not up to the board whether it's gas or
Right.
diesel, but at the very least, you'd like to see some further sound attenuation, either a higher level of
Absolutely.
attenuation or a wall, acoustical wall to buffer the neighbors.
And I
A wall,
think-
maybe even with a roof on it. And you also have to have things like secondary containment, because you don't want that. New York State's very, very,
A dual walled tank.
yeah,
Yeah.
a dual wall tank. You may have to have some type of a leak detection system on it. You may have to treat it for rust, things like that. New York State's very, very strict on getting anything in their groundwater. So if it leaks to soil, they consider it's going to go into the groundwater. And also there's a creek or a small stream within 500 feet of this.
Yeah.
So they are going to be in parts 613, 14 maybe. Don't quote me on that, Mark.
No, I'm just made a
Yeah.
note just to research that and pull that out.
But yeah, I sent you the link. Or I sent one of you guys
Yes.
the link.
Yeah.
I think that would also be a flag for the fire marshal.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're going to have to get a bulk storage permit from the fire marshal for that. Just
And where is that? Can you pull up the site plan?
That's the location.
Okay, so they probably would be able to get a fuel truck back there if they had to fuel it or, take,
Yeah, it's accessible
exchange it
from
or
the parking
something.
lot.
Yeah, have a
They
lot
could, but there's also, you have to exercise them as far as weekly
Right.
and monthly at full load. You know, so that's one of the things, my next question was about the property maintenance agreement. If there's times of day the board wants to, restrict that too, obviously, if there's an emergency and it's needed, it runs
Right.
24 hours. But if it's a normal exercise, it should be during the day or, a
Yeah.
time where, the ambient
Yeah.
noise is a little louder than the middle of the night. I mean,
Yeah, and it's also gonna have to be
Operating
installed per NFPA, it's either 110 or 111. And that will tell you, I think New York State references it, incorporates it by reference, and then that'll tell you how long it's gotta be exercised for, and then an annual run, full load on it for 90 minutes or whatever that is.
yeah.
So,
Well, we could say like between 12 and 5. right, which is.
10 and 2, 12 and 5,
Yeah.
something. Because
Yeah.
it's also right next to the nursing home. There's going to be someone else on the other side of the wall. I don't know what's inside the building there, but the residents are going to hear it.
But in the afternoon, it
Right,
would be the best time.
yeah. So, but yeah, that took me by surprise when I saw natural
Yeah.
diesel instead of natural gas. So,
Yeah, that's a surprise, but I bet it has something to do with cost.
yeah, probably. And that's okay, as long as they do everything right.
Cost
but-
or maintenance.
And, yeah, we need additional sound attenuation around that.
While we're talking the property maintenance agreement, one of the concerns of the neighbors came up about the dumpsters being emptied at 4:30 in the morning. Does the board want to, we're going to require property maintenance agreement, does the board have any timeframes as far as dumpster?
I think 4:30 is a little early.
I think
for
after
most
6
people.
AM, that's when waste management comes through the neighborhoods, and anywhere
That's
between 6
reasonable.
and 8 AM, they're there, so.
So 6 AM to 8 PM or something?
Something like that, yeah, that works.
I mean, give them enough hours, but just something that it's a little bit more reasonable for
Right.
resident, I mean, residential dumpster, or, excuse me, toter removal happens, 6 AM out, but I think 4 is a little
4 is a little early.
outside of that.
It's a little rough.
Anything
No.
else outside of the normal maintenance for the property maintenance agreement? Those were kind of the two that jumped out at me. I did have a note, and I'll work with our engineer on here it's kind of the northeast corner. With the increase of pavement, the drainage is kind of directing towards the neighbors. I know the neighbors had a concern with the drainage already. I think it could be handled by a catch basin and then, or a dry well, and then the property falls off to which is the south, west side here, just a daylight or something else. So I just kind of had a note on there to look at that, add a little basin kind of in that corner, pick some of that up. You could swale it, but there's plenty of existing vegetation there, pine trees, or excuse me, maple trees. Don't want to undercut those roots to try to cut a swale to there. So maybe a catch basin and some drain pipe, I think, may help the neighbors immensely, and also just kind of pick up that additional pavement that they're adding. They did receive their zoning board variances last week with the zoning board, so that was approved. Anything else?
I think the landscape plan looked fine.
And we did hear back from Bruce. He looked at it, he thought it was a well put together plan, and he had no comments on that.
Then the lighting plan. They sent the light sources,
Yeah.
what the fixtures were they're looking at.
They had the fixtures, they had the photometric.
Yeah.
Look, the photometric. Sure.
Yeah,
I
there-
thought I saw some pretty low numbers in the parking lot there for the employees. What did I tell you? It's getting there. Yeah, they had some .1s and .2s. What's the acceptable level?
I mean, it's up to them. I mean, it's just the safety of their employees. I mean, it's residential. I know the only thing that there's definitely standards for is like ATMs or banks. They have a set safety standard,
Mhm.
but beyond that, it's kind of, it's a private.
What do you know, Mark, like typically what a developer would do for a parking lot now?
Residential, I mean,
Like,
you're about, under the light, typically you're more like 5-foot candles under the light and then going out to 2 or 1 across it.
Okay.
I know they're trying to be meeting more of a residential type standard, so I think
Yeah.
they're looking at lower light levels, which I think is good. They're not looking to over light the parking lot. There may be some lighter areas, toward the building, they could supplement that, with a building light if that didn't work out as much. I'm just happy to see the one on the end. That currently is just kind of like a high pressure sodium
Mhm.
yard barn light, has been replaced with a downlight. I think that would be a great improvement for those neighbors, over what it is today, is casting that down.
Same as
The
the one
cutoffs
there,
and-
at the top.
Yes, that's a new one that they're adding. It's not currently there now, but again, being directed dark sky compliant, it'll be much better for the neighbors. And then they've added a couple on the building at the exit doors, which should help as well.
I would almost, I don't know if AJ's taken a look at this. He's been in Oklahoma all week. But I think .1's pretty I mean, I think a full candle's similar to a full moon on a clear night.
Maybe they need to add another one in the middle.
Yeah, something
on this
like
side
that.
of the parking lot,
Well,
just supplement.
I'll defer that to AJ, he's our lighting expert. There's a Lighting Engineer Association or something, and they probably have recommendations.
And then none of the lighting was changing coming up the drive, right?
Right.
So nothing has changed there.
You know, that's interesting, because I drove by there today, and they were doing something with that lighting on those poles.
Oh, going up the driveway?
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Maybe they're putting new fixtures in.
New
Well,
bulbs.
they
New
indicated those were
New
gonna
bulbs,
remain,
I
and
don't know.
maybe CFLs or LED.
But yeah, they were definitely out there working on them, so I don't know what they were doing.
What's the board's appetite? Do you wanna, we can issue a tabling resolution asking for some answers back? Revisit in 2 weeks, or,
There's just a couple of questions, really. You don't really have a whole lot, right?
No, we don't have a lot for them.
Just the generator.
The generator
questions.
3 and the
The
and the
lighting.
lighting are the
The
big
lighting.
deals.
you know, AJ look at the lighting, and then I can work with their engineer on the drainage issue and the,
We could probably condition the approval resolution to,
that's what I'm saying is.
that it would be to the town engineer and AG's satisfaction for the lighting and for the generator. We need some answers on that. And if we can condition that, no sense bringing them back.
Let's say that's up to the board. We can add those
Yeah.
as conditions.
Okay,
Sounds good.
I'd go with that, yeah.
all right.
I'll make a motion
So
to,
first would be the part two.
Part 2 weeks.
I'll make a motion.
Motion
for
for
that.
part two?
Yes.
I'll second.
Okay. Bastian,
Aye.
Danicourt,
Aye.
Canower,
Aye.
Titans.
Aye.
And that's to approve with conditions?
That's
That's
for the
for the
part
part
2.
two.
Or
Yeah,
two, oh, okay.
EAF.
For the conditional tabling resolution.
Approval.
For the approval resolution with those,
With
the
with those
conditions.
conditions that we discussed this evening.
I'll second.
Okay. Bastian,
Aye.
Danicourt,
Aye.
Canower,
Aye.
Titans.
Aye.
Okay.
And the other condition that we need to add in is the zoning board still needs to act on the expansion to a conditionally permitted use. So did they act on that in January? That's also
February.
I think they
February.
just,
They just did that. at the
February
meeting?
had,
I think they did this last week.
Okay. so-
yeah, February had both
Got
the
it, okay.
buffer and the pre-existing non-conforming.
Thank you, yes.
Or you just condition it on the approval of
Of-
zoning boards,
yeah,
granting of that.
The zoning board doesn't
Yeah, zoning board.
doesn't go anywhere.
Yep.
Right. I think,
No, I
I'm
believe it
pretty
was
sure they
last
did
week,
this.
I'm
I
sorry.
have a draft resolution in my email inbox, actually, to look at, but I
Okay.
think that's one of them.
Sorry. Okay.
Good.
So that one's all set. We do have 3 applications on your March agenda. Zach, can you run through those?
Sure. I'll just talk about them. We have 2 sketch plan applications. The first one is for Theravet Acres on Kennedy Road. They have a property immediately to their west that they want to expand on. Continue their operations over there, build 2 buildings over there with a lot of field use space for animal training and rehabilitation. So that's going to be a sketch plan that we're going to be looking at. The second sketch plan is for the mobile gas station at 25441. They're looking to not only rebuild their convenience store, so they're going to take it, right now it's currently under the canopy, they want to expand it, put a drive-through around it, and put it behind the canopy, and also add a car wash to the rear. That is supposed to be a conveyor system where one car goes in, stays in there, goes out, next car comes in. So it's
Laser wash,
part laser, part
one car, it would almost
Conveyor.
abut where Taco Bell is, so
Mhm.
to the back, the laser wash component.
That's the drive-through part?
No, that's.
no, they want to do a
separate.
drive-through window as well on the convenience.
Similar to what Hess did, so Hess
South
on the other
side.
side did a loop around the back. You could, they don't have a tenant as of yet. They're looking at getting a tenant who could drive around the building. have a call box,
What
get
do
a
you buy
sandwich or
at the
something.
drive-through convenience store?
Depends on who's in there.
I mean,
Hess
it's not like
has
Taco
Burger
Bell or
King.
something, right?
Hess has
It
Burger
could
King,
be.
so.
I mean, it could be convenience, you could get a
Tim
drink
Hortons
or
or
coffee or
Dunkin'
something.
Mhm.
They'd add in a fast food component or something, right?
I believe they're looking at
Yeah.
a partner for that.
Might be tight with that, because there's a Taco Bell behind it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe
That's-
Taco
that's-
Bell.
That's
Yeah.
a
The
car
car
wash
wash.
and a drive-through
Yeah.
convenience
Which
store. That's a lot.
Culver University has a laser wash similar to what they're looking at, the mobile station with
Mhm.
the car wash.
We have
don't have
one,
a
we have one in
drive-through,
Greece
though.
too, and it like
It's a
goes
tight
right to the
spot.
property
It
line.
will require variances for setbacks and some
Yeah.
other things, so that's why they're coming in for sketch. We'll look at that and then obviously
There's a- I
need
think there's
variances
a
for the
driveway.
zoning board.
The driveway goes back into the,
They're looking to keep the two existing driveways that are there now, the one on the 250, the one on the Penfield Road,
Right.
not modifying those. This is an internal modification on that. Those application or the materials are in your drop tonight, so you can just take a look
Now,
at those.
when we talked about this last year, you mentioned that they were gonna raise it and then rebuild it.
Yeah, then now they're looking,
Different plan.
another guy owns it.
Okay,
And his idea is to just modify the existing
Okay.
C-store and do something else with it.
yeah.
okay.
They've owned this for years, I believe, these folks.
The
It's the son?
Altier, we have a
family
new
now
owner.
owns it.
Yeah, right. They've owned it for a while, though, I believe.
Okay. I
This
thought they-
time
I
they
thought they
stopped.
acquired it recently.
They just dug up some of those tanks there, didn't they, recently? They were doing some work at the east end.
On that property?
Could be.
Yeah.
Possibly, I don't know, I haven't been down there.
Yeah.
And then the third application we have is for 2041 Penfield Road, it's the Shaw property. We looked at this last year and the year before, right at Sanders Farm there on Penfield Road. They would like to add a garage, two-car garage to the front of the existing building, the first building that was there when it was
Not
all
the one they're
started.
building now.
Not the one they're building now, not the one that they built in the back for the sun, the main building that was there originally. They're looking just to add a garage out front there for Mr. Shaw, Elite Shaw, so that he has less of a walk to get in. Right now he's struggling with getting around, being more mobile. He's had a couple falls recently, so they're just trying to make it safe for him to get into the building.
This is a PD district, so it's a several-step process. They've already
Yeah.
gone to the town board, had an initial conversation with the town board. Be coming in for the planning board to go through their process. They have to go to the zoning board for variances, get any approvals from the planning board, and then finally end up with the town board for a special permit from the town board because it is a PD district. So it's a lengthy process, but similar to what we've done for the two other buildings that are out there.
How did it go since they put up the other structures?
I
Any problems
believe
with the
there's-
neighbors? I know the neighbors came out.
Have not heard
It's been quiet.
from the neighbors about anything.
It's gonna be a nice development.
Yeah, once it's all
Nice
cleaned up.
building, Yeah,
Yep.
it's nice. I like it.
So with that,
I think
We have
that's
no
all
other
the
items.
agenda items we have tonight.
And we have to go into a closed session.
An executive session with
Executive session.
with the attorney.
Okay. So this,
adjourn.
so we're adjourned for this, but we have to go upstairs, right?
Yep.
Okay. That's it?
Good luck, Andy.